Absolutely. Anybody got any questions? We like call and response. We like dialogue. We like a little attention on relations. Yes, we got a question, my dear sister.
How was it when you got arrested at the Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago?
It was a sublime experience when I was arrested. Because you know there's actually freedom in the handcuffs. Just like Mumia Abu-Jamal is one of the freest men in America, been on death row for almost 30 years. See the dialectic that I'm talking about? There's freedom in the handcuffs. And they put the shackles on the ankles too. I couldn't break dance, but I still felt free. Because I knew I was standing up for something. I was standing up for something. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Now, when we went in, that was a fascinating experience. As you can imagine, you got 22 of us in one cell. And we got a lot of brothers and sisters. This is Chocolate City, this is Washington, D.C. And there's some brothers in there who didn't have both paddles in the water. So we had a lot of mental illness. And we love our mentally ill brothers and sisters. We had a lot of mentally ill brothers and sisters. And I walked in, brother looked at me and said, Brother West, I just want you to know, I am the mayor of Washington, D.C. I said, that's cool with me, brother. That's fine. He said, I'm going to make you the honorary deputy mayor. I said, that's cool too. We work together. And within 3 hours, we ended up having a rich dialogue talking about why many of us were in jail voluntarily and why many of them were in jail involuntarily. And we created the bonds that our common humanity came to the surface in that cell. Of course, it was 25 hours and they changed the various cells in that regard. But it was a beautiful thing. And in Harlem, when we got arrested with stop and frisk, you all know about stop and frisk policies in New York City? 700,000 young people have been stopped and frisked. Only 4% of them arrested, 87% in brown. And they say, oh no, it has nothing to do with race. Yes, and I'm a star in the National Hockey League. I ain't got nothing against hockey, but you know I'm not a National Hockey League kind of player. NBA, that's something else. But it was that sense of solidarity in the cell that made a big difference. And what is so magnificent is there has been thousands of folk who have gone to jail since September 17th, just in America, let alone around the world. And anytime you make that kind of move, you let folk know you're serious. That's what's so beautiful about it.
How do we get the media to carry the truth instead of the corporate lies?
Yeah, how do we get the media to tell the truth rather than corporate lies? Yeah,
become the media.
The corporate media produces clever gimmicks of mass distraction. They continually downplay the truth. And what do we mean by the truth? Well, the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. There is no truth in your life, in your family, in your community, in the nation, in the world, unless the voices of suffering are heard. That's why they have a business page in the newspaper, not a labor page. And if you really want to talk about the suffering and hear the truth in America, then let's have a page on the prison industrial complex. Let's have a page on poor children. Where are their voices? Let's have a page on working people. Let's have a page on the sisters dealing with cowardly brothers engaged in domestic violence. Let's have a page on our gay brothers and lesbian sisters and others who get spit on due to sexual orientation. That's the kind of page we need to have. We're going to talk about truth. But that's what the Occupy movement is all about. We want a space in America, given all the mendacity and mediocrity and mean-spiritedness, that allows suffering to speak, so that when we smile, it's connected with our struggle against that suffering. And so how do we do that? You have alternative media. Thank God for Sister Amy Goodman. Oh, Sister Amy, we love her. We love her. Thank God for Brother Travis Smiley. We love the brother. Oh yes, we got some alternative. I know. I'm sure in Seattle you all have. You got alternative media right there.
I gotta go
You got
right
it right
now.
there.
Gotta go right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a question.
Yes, good.
Last night, the Seattle Police Department engaged in some rather brutal tactics against Occupy to include pepper spraying an 84-year-old woman, a pregnant woman, and 2 members of G. Do you have a message for our political leaders who would use police as suppression against the 99%?
I would say they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And in fact, we need accountability, we need answerability, and they need to take responsibility for engaging in that kind of obscene, immoral activity.
Woo!
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, my brother.
So this has been going on for a long time in Seattle, right? We have our officer professional accountability.
Oh yeah, repeat the question. I'm sorry about that. Oh, come on up.
Cornel West.
Hello, give me my regards.
Guys, Cornel West just hugged me.
OMG.
We love you, Dr. West. So we have this problem with accountability all over the country, right? And they keep telling us that we have a civilian police review board here, which does nothing to bring about justice in our community. Our brother, a Native American woodcarver, was killed here, John T. Williams. Okay? He was executed by a police officer. This officer is not being tried. He's not being charged with any criminal charges at all. So what can we do as citizens to make sure that our city, our mayor, and our police departments give us a voice and give us accountability? Because it's happening, and no matter how hard we try, no matter how many times we go to the ACLU and to the city, it never happens.
No, I hear you. Well, I appreciate that question. Yeah, I mean it is difficult because so often the way the system is designed that it doesn't provide the kind of space for justice to be done. And yet at the same time, I do want to salute the A&L, the libertarians who are fighting the AL. What is it you mentioned? The ACLU. They play a very important role. They try to create some wiggle space to at least keep the issue visible so it comes to the surface. But they know they're cutting against the grain. We need more community organizations to keep the issue alive.
So the Seattle Police Department is under Department of Justice investigation right now for racial profiling and excessive use of force. Right now.
Is that right? From the Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
Oh. It's a federal investigation. That's a positive thing because that generates tremendous visibility. I just wish that my dear brother Eric Holder were more vigilant about these kinds of things. If he was as vigilant about police brutality as he's vigilant against WikiLeaks, he'd be in good shape, wouldn't he? Oh, yes, they got the fired up on WikiLeaks, didn't they? Yes, but this question, another question.
So, you mentioned love, and what I want to emphasize, what I want to ask is, when you say love, are you phrasing like UEP Newton said, love for the people? When we're talking about love for the people, meaning we'll fight, we'll kill and die for our people, or Care Bear, Ghana, your skull? I just want to clarify that.
No, I hear you. No, the Care Bear's got something going on there. No, I say that because I got a daughter and I read Care Bears to just keep that compassion flowing. Like Charlotte Webb, you know what I mean? You got that, keep that compassion going. Is that right, my sister? No, but when I talk about love, I'm talking about the most difficult, the most dangerous, the most subversive force in the world. Yeah. Because when you're talking about love, it means you have a steadfast commitment to the well-being of others and you're willing to do what it takes to ensure that their humanity is always affirmed. Yeah. Always affirmed. That's what I mean by love supreme. When John Coltrane talking about love supreme, he's just not playing the saxophone. He's talking about his heart, his mind, his soul is a steadfast commitment to make sure that the well-being of all of humanity is elevated, and the best he can do is play his horn, just as the best we can do is occupy at the moment. Now, it shifts from context to context. It shifts from context to context. Somebody like Martin Luther King Jr., Desmond Tutu, they are radical pacifists. So love for them always takes the form of nonviolence. Our Quaker brothers and sisters have the same tradition. It's a great and it's a grand tradition. Now, I happen to be a Christian, but I'm not a pacifist. I believe in just war. I would have fought against Hitler. Hitler's a gangster. He's trying to dominate the world. I got to throw down. I would have fought against apartheid in South Africa with Nelson Mandela. Still out of love, though. Still out of love. So you see how the love has different traditions. It manifests in different ways. A rich pacifist tradition and a tradition under which, under certain circumstances, you have to defend yourself, and under other circumstances, you fight in the context of serious engagement. Yes, question. Oh, come on. Give our sister a hand now. AFK.
I'm just wondering if you have a message for both the president and chancellor of the Seattle Central and Seattle Community Colleges District in light of the opposition to the occupation.
Opposition from the...
Yes. Our administration wants them gone.
Oh, yes. No, but we here. We're here. And it's just like, Mayor Bloomberg in New York. They come up with different strategies. We're still here. We might not be in the exact same space all the time, but we're still here. We're not going anywhere. And in the end, as has been said so eloquently by so many of the other brothers and sisters in the Occupy movement, even if you're able to evict a particular group at the moment, you can never evict a vision, you can never evict an idea, you can never evict a commitment that they're going to be manifest one way or the other. Yes. There's a question in the back there. Oh, okay, yeah, just come right on up. Okay.
I want to say first, it's been a pleasure to hear you speak so much.
No, you speak into they can hear you.
I will. The main criticism of the Occupy movement has been that there's no clear goal, and some people it's getting money out of politics, and sometimes there's a socialist agenda. I just want to know from you, what should we want to achieve? What does the best possible America look like? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. See, I think anytime you're talking about a movement, especially a movement in its early stages, the last thing you want to do is zero in on just one or two demands. That what we want to do, we want to change the whole ethos of the nation, the whole ethos of the world, and say, you know what? When you think about politics, you ought to think about the connection between public interest and the weak and the vulnerable. For so long, public interest has been hijacked by oligarchs and plutocrats at the top. When we talk about the military-industrial complex, why is there no focus on the innocent civilians who are killed every day with the drones dropping bombs? Well, that's a concern with the weak and the vulnerable. It's wrong. It's immoral.
Never touch me.
At the same time, in relation to the Wall Street oligarchic plutocratic complex, yes, we need to talk seriously about fundamental democratic accountability of oligarchs at the top. There's a whole host of demands around that issue. But we want to talk about corporate greed in the prison industrial complex. We want to talk about the role of prisons being privatized and put on Wall Street, on the stock market. And we want to talk about the corporate media multiplex and the ways in which it truncates the dialogue and keeps it so narrow that we get tired of having to choose between mean-spirited Republicans and spineless Democrats.